If you do a wide-eyed thing, I think it's real. Hello, world. Welcome to the 162 climate change emergency protest here in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. We're on location at the Gettysburg battlefield right now, and we're at one of our favorite spots, which is during our runs on the battlefield. And
Greetings, Earthlings.
Greetings. It is the conditions here are changing quickly. This used to be all forest, and now it's turning into a meadow due to climate change and a bog situation erupting. So anyways, this is number 162. Next week will be 163, of course, and that'll be on January 21st. Hopefully I'm transmitting. I'm not sure about the, because we're away from a cell phone tower. Okay, so last 3 days in Brazil, you had rock wall collapse. I don't know if you all saw that. Don't watch it if you can help yourself. And the reason behind that, the governor of that area in Brazil said that it was a result of extreme flooding they had there. Also, you had mud floods in Brazil, overall floods, and then also tornadoes in Brazil. Indonesia had fires and, not fires, they had floods and tornadoes as well, as did Malaysia. Texas had January tornadoes, believe it or not, in the United States, as well as Alabama had hail. France had massive floods down in the Basque region. Saudi Arabia is having hail. South Africa is having hail. You get another theme here. Argentina, the ground temperature yesterday or day before yesterday was 129 degrees. The air temperature was 113. West Australia had a high temperature of 123. This all last 3 days, okay? So this is not just like over the last year. This is just the last 3 days.
Well, in Gettysburg, too, it's been crazy. Like,
crazy
the weather has
temperatures.
fluctuated from, I guess it was 60, wasn't it, recently?
Yep.
59?
Yep.
And then now it's back up to 39, 40, and it was in the teens.
And tomorrow it's going to be a high of 19 or 20, and then a wind chill of -6.
It's a yo-yo.
And then the following day we're getting snow.
And the poor animals, and the plants and everything are suffering because of it. They don't know what to do.
So you also had Paraguay fires due to the extreme heat and drought situation down in South America. Greece and North Macedonia had a 6.5 earthquake. Crete, the island of Crete, had a 6.8 earthquake. And I'll talk about that in a little bit, about earthquakes and volcanoes and stuff. Around the United States and the world, there are 440 nuclear facilities and just 94 in the United States by itself. So where are we right now? Changes are happening in the environment 10,000 times faster than the ability of vertebrates and mammals to keep up with those changes. We're experiencing 150 to 200 species dying off per day. This is a total extinction event going on, and people don't even know about it.
That should have us a little concerned.
A little bit when the biosphere starts collapsing around us. You cannot come back from extinction. Once you're dead, and that's the way it is. Last year was the 7th warmest year on record. The previous 8 warmest years have been in the previous 8 years. This is a record year for heat for a La Nina event. So it was the warmest La Nina event temperature around the world, in recorded history. USA now is #1 in the export of liquid natural gas. Way to go, Joe Biden and his crew. You are doing wonders about killing us off in the environment. Liquid natural gas is nothing but methane, and it's one of the worst greenhouse gases you can put up there. So keep it up. You're doing a great job if you're a lizard. Beavers in Alaska are moving north into Alaska. Many reports are saying they're creating havoc in the environment, but in reality, they're just trying to survive by moving farther and farther north. They build their dams, causes lakes and streams to slow up, and then all that warmer water tunnels down into the permafrost and makes the permafrost melt quicker, which makes the beavers move farther north because it warms up around the area too much, and then they keep moving north. And they're just doing what's going to happen anyway.
So basically the choices that we've made to heat up the atmosphere with carbon is forcing them to have to change.
Right.
And then what are we blaming?
Right, we're blaming the beavers. So their little 4-inch legs are causing everything to change in the world. Blame the beavers!
Let's not take responsibility for any of this.
So where are we going? Those nuclear facilities, the 400 plus nuclear facilities I was talking about, think about this. We see this happen time and time again in an extreme event where there's fires or destruction or havoc of some sort. You have people that won't go to work. Well, if nuclear engineers and people that work at nuclear facilities don't go to work, you're going to end up with massive meltdown. And I believe that the 400 nuclear facilities around the world are enough to wipe us out as a society anyway and have radiation for the next 150,000 years or whatever, how long it is.
Let's think ahead and try to figure out what's going to happen when all these systems break down. That'd be a good idea. Then we could maybe do something.
We don't want to think ahead, though, if we're politicians. We want to stay in the now. They are basically...
Let's talk about COVID ad nauseum, 24/7, instead of talking about climate change, which is going to be the thing that ends us all.
So from a Zen Buddhist point of view, the politicians are spot on. They stay in the now. They only worry about the now, and they're reactive rather than proactive and can't see down the line and are worried about being reelected. So there we go. How's that going to end badly? Can't imagine how that could end badly. So, you know, what we're going to experience in addition to the nuclear situation have to deal with is massive heat waves. We've seen it around the world. And we're seeing it now. Fires, tornadoes, hurricanes, Category 6 hurricanes. Also, spin off from that is massive glacier melts continue, which causes, and I had this as a theory, and then Peter Carter pointed out to me that someone actually wrote a paper about this back in 2016, how the plates will shift due to the massive glacier melt and weight shifting in the ocean. So plate tectonic shifting, volcanoes as a result of that, and you end up with massive earthquakes. So I did this on my own, came up with this theory, and I'm not a doctor of whatever, but this is just a lot of research and things like that. And if you go down this webpage, connecting the dots, it's not hard. You used to do it as a 5-year-old. A lot of fun games, and now we're still at the fun game. It's a massive science experiment. And you got something to say about that?
As Elon Musk has said in the past, this has got to be the dumbest human experiment on the earth, that we're messing around with this, that we're still playing around with burning fossil fuels and allowing the earth to heat up. We're doing it, and it's like just so nuts to think that we're not doing anything about it.
So it is crazy.
It's just crazy. It's just crazy. It makes no sense.
So the other day there were 240 earthquakes around the world. Normal is 55. So something happened on that date that things are shifting. Maybe it's an aberration, or maybe it's what's to come. And the news media, of course, fails to recognize anything about it. So Joe Biden and the Democrats here in the United States have decided, and I'm not ragging on the Democrats to be ragging on the Democrats. They are better than this, and they need to be better than this, or I thought they were, but evidently not. So up to June, in the previous 6 months, Joe Biden authorized 2,400 drilling permits throughout the United States.
Joe.
And 4,000 total over the whole year. 333 drilling permits per day. I mean, it's or per month.
But it's an existential threat.
Yes,
Jim.
just remember it's an existential threat. But we'll keep pulling the very extinction event stuff out of the earth, the guck, and that'll help us out a whole lot. It'll warm the environment, and people will be able to live in Russia. So this amount that he's doing, issuing permits, and everyone's letting him get away with it. The media is, and it's more than Trump did in any 1 year in his first 3 years. Not that Trump was any saint, because good God knows he wasn't. So he's at a faster pace, Biden is, than what Trump was in issuing drilling permits. He also issued the Willow Project, continued on with that, which is 1 billion barrels of oil over 30 years in Alaska. 80 million acres were leased off in the Gulf of Mexico, which is the size of New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Maryland. And now we're #1 in the world in liquid natural gas exports. Do you really think that this president's administration is concerned about the environment and saving our lives and trying to prevent an extinction event? Because if you believe that, I got some land for you to buy right here on the Gettysburg National Battlefield. Please send $1 million to us and we'll sell it to you. Of course, we don't own it, so good luck with that. So the midterms are coming up in the United States. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because the United States is the linchpin for the whole world concerning climate change. So the midterms are coming up in November. We're experiencing extreme voter disqualification in the United States, meaning people are coming up, and a certain party, not the Democrats, are coming up all these reasons not to allow people to vote. This is undemocratic. Every citizen in the United States should have the right to vote. This is undemocratic, as I said, and the question is, do we want to experience democracy or not? Because the next election comes into play where people have been discriminated against and not allowed to vote, and you're like, well, they're illegal aliens or stuff like that. No, sorry, they're citizens of the United States.
There's still way too much money in politics for it to be democratic anyway.
So, it's what do you want, though? And then the next election will come about, and the other side now won't believe that it was a fair and just election. So neither side will believe the elections are fair and just. And what do you think is going to come out as a result of that? It's not a good situation. And then you got the 2024 presidential election in the United States. Well, you know, they're trotting out the same old boring stuff, which is Biden or Trump or even Hillary Clinton. You vote the same, you get the same. We're not getting out of this situation, and you need to look at things from a climate change point of view and look at your kids and your wife and your brother and your sister and whoever else you might like, and come up with the idea that we might not be around in another 5 years. We keep up this pace. So, you know, by then it won't matter though, by 2024, I don't think, because things will be spinning out of control and the next person comes in could be very, very scary. So you got to be worried about not only from a climate change point of view, it's also an authoritarian point of view. You know, if things are spinning out of control, we're going to experience martial law, safe camps where you can go hang out and get your fair share of food and shelter, but you can't leave. You can check in, but you can never leave. You know, and also you're going to be dealing with refugees, as we are seeing around the world right now, by the millions, but then it'll end up being billions of people will be climate change refugees. And you think, oh, that can't happen to us in the United States.
Well, it's
yes, it
happening
can.
already.
It's happening already, and for example, the West Coast, you know, with the massive fires and floods and things like that, and tornadoes, you know, entire towns are being obliterated by tornadoes in December. I mean, that's nuts. So what do we need to do? We need to end fossil fuel subsidies. We need to protest, broadcast, do like this, protest, broadcast, protest, broadcast. And we need to, if you can, talk to friends and family. We are finding that extremely difficult, where you can't have any kind of conversation about climate change. No sit-down coffee klatch, no nothing about anything. And that's meaning our friends and families, okay? So no one around here will engage. The only place that engages is right here on good old Facebook or Environmental Coffee House on YouTube. People need to stop watching NBC, CBS, ABC,
Legacy
Legacy News, Fox Television as your sole
They don't
source.
tell you anything.
You can't have them as your sole source of information, because you really don't know what's going on if you're using the media, the big media, as your source of information around the world. If you type in climate change on YouTube, go right to YouTube, type in climate change. There are tons and tons and thousands of news broadcasts and articles about climate change on there.
Or just go outside every day and look around and see what's going on around you, because there are changes everywhere, every day, and you just need to pay attention.
You need to just look up, as the movie said, you know, instead of don't look up, do look up, look around, see what's going on around you. So go to Climate Change on YouTube, go to Environmental Coffee House YouTube. These are all YouTube things. Paul Beckwith, excellent scientist and professor, really a great teacher. Just Have a Think with Dave. Peter Wadhams, excellent scientist who's studied ice in the Arctic for decades. Peter Carter, another great climate change scientist. Extinction Rebellion, type in that. Type in Fridays for Future, which is the Greta Thunberg group. You got Roger Hallam in England, as well as Gail Bradbrook and Rupert Reed. So next week will be number 163. That'll be on January 21st. Honey, do you have any parting shots to take?
Sorry, you got me.
Help!
Yeah, exactly.
Help! There's no help. Okay.
We all need to wake up
Please.
right now.
And we can be awoken even more. I mean, you know, seeing this around what's going on, this meadow and lack of trees now, this has totally changed, and it's so sad to watch.
It is.
So I'll catch you next week. Tanya will hopefully be around too, and that'll be number 163, and that'll be on January 21st. See you then. Bye.